the actors reacted was, well, they just thought it was special. I mean, there was one, they thought it was just very exciting that we were shooting in 70, and they thought it was exciting seeing the big camera and the big mag and the big old lenses. And, but, you know, almost all the actors that I have in this movie are more older school types. So they like working on film. On film, there was a special magic on a set when you said action. And to the point that the take ran until you said cut. And that was a sacred time. That was a special time. People stopped doing what they were doing and everyone settled down. And this was money. And this was the time. And that's film running through a camera. No one took it for granted. And it was a thing. But the whole idea behind them was really neat. It was really cool because it was, it made movies special. It was like a big deal. It wasn't just a movie playing in your local theater. What happened was they do a 70mm print of a film, and some of them, you know, some of them were like musicals, some of them were big historical epics. Other ones were like like Ice Station Zebra, Battle of the Bulge, Sand Pebbles, Around the World in 80 Days. They would do these big productions where it would be before the normal release of the film. It would be a big premiere engagements. Special tickets. It would be a little bit more, it would be more expensive than the regular movie. You get assigned seating, and then you go in to see the film, and you get a big old program, a big colorful program of the movie you were going to see, and it was a big presentation. You know, people would get dressed up for it. It would be a whole night at the movies, as opposed to the normal double features that they had back then. You would just go see this one movie and sit down in this, you know, in the huge theaters of whatever the city that it was in. And then there would be oftentimes an overture at the beginning where you'd play the entire soundtrack done in like a Broadway show, overture version of it. And then almost normally the road shows would have intermission that would happen right, you know, in the mid-time. And almost normally there would be about like 10 extra minutes added to the movie that you'd only get to see in the roadshow version. You know, if you're going to do this big outdoor movie with a bunch of landscapes and stuff, well, then that would make sense to shoot it on 70. But if it mostly takes place indoors, why are you shooting it on 70? Well, I don't think it's just a format, you know, just made to shoot the Grand Canyon. I don't think it's a format that, like, its only place is the Sahara Desert, or its only place is the Gobi Desert, or the only place is, you know, the Rocky Mountains of Colorado on a big wide vista. I think it's one of the most dynamic, beautiful looking formats that there is. And I've always understood from my very first movie, Reservoir Dogs, which was a scope movie, even though it all took place in a warehouse, and everyone was like saying, well, why are you shooting scope for your first movie if you're just taking place in a warehouse? Well, I actually believe that these big formats actually offer more intimacy, that you can be closer to the characters. It can bring you closer, and it can actually invade the intimacy of the characters in its bigness, in those big close-ups and stuff. But also, it's just the fact that like I said, I don't think it's just a format that's only meant for travelogues. And if that were the case, that would be the case. But I don't think it is. I think it's a very narrow view of the uses of 70mm film, especially when you have somebody like Bob Richardson doing the shooting and doing the lighting. So, you know, we'll see what they say, but hopefully when people see Hateful Eight, they won't ask, why did you bother shooting it on 70? How gorgeous it is, and how vivid it is, and how intimate it is will be the answer.